Good morning, everybody on the call. Thank you for joining us. I guess good afternoon for us on the East Coast. Good morning for those on the West and Central time. Today we'll be going through with Brad and Tracy on accountability, but as we let people trickle in, we're going to launch a quick poll just to figure out who all is in the audience and better tailor this. All right, looks like we're slowing down here a little bit. I will, so if you can see that out there, so it looks like mainly owners, GMs. We got a couple others on the line, Brad, Tracy, so.
Excellent.
Well, without taking up any more time here, so for today, we'll be going through accountability and how we're going to help get the technicians doing a little bit more productivity, effectiveness, profitability, everything that you can do, especially during these trying times. We got a labor shortage going on, and tech's right in front of us. How can we get the most out of those individuals? Today's agenda, we'll be running through, how we're going to create these positive habits. What are the leadership must-dos? How we're going to implement accountability in your business, and then what Brad is coining over here, PIARM, and how that can go in, how that fits well in the business, and how you can move forward with it. We have a couple polls throughout. There's a survey towards the end. The presentation is being recorded, so we will have a recording that will go out shortly after this for everybody in attendance. And then the survey at the end, just let us know how we're doing. There's a couple follow-up questions for Brad based on where you guys fit, what you would like to see from him, any sort of follow-up, so make sure to participate in that. And then we will hop into, so today we have Brad Hone. He's the Regional Vice President of Aerus Enterprises Solutions. He's also a business coach. He loves this stuff. He's very passionate. We're happy to have him. And we have Tracy Martin, who heads up our Director of Dealer Development Group here at Aeroseal, coaching our dealers, adding a lot of these similar practices into our training programs to drive the most success. So I will pass it over to them for further introduction.
Tracy, you want to go?
Sure. So, yep, I think Billy nailed it. I help manage the dealer network of our dealer partners across the Aeroseal business, specifically in the residential space. So I have the privilege of working with many fine contractors like you who are listening today. Love what I do, and yeah, I think you guys better buckle up and get ready. Brad Hone is full of passion and intensity, and he's got an awesome presentation to share with you today. So ladies and gentlemen, Brad Hone.
Thank you, Tracy. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for Aeroseal for putting this together and getting us all together, because as all of us contractors sitting on here know, it is very important what we do every day with the products and services we bring to the table. And just a quick background on myself, so you know who you're dealing with moving forward. When we reach out and you talk to me, and we look to do things together in the future. My name is Brad Hone. I'm the Regional Vice President for Aerus Enterprises, but it's Air Scrubber by Aerus, whole house purification system. It is without a doubt the most powerful air and surface purification ever discovered. And as we go through this isn't a air scrubber training. It's about getting extraordinary results from ordinary average people like myself. I'm an average individual, and you're going to hear my story that I'm going to tell over the next 3 minutes of why I'm at where I'm at today. So I grew up in Northeast Ohio. I was a police officer out of college. I was injured in the line of duty in a severe traffic accident, severe head injury, where I was forced to retire. And, I fell into the heating cooling industry. I always had a service background, upbringing. My father owned a trucking company and an auto mechanic shop. So I was always in front of his customers, just going and working as a kid in those atmospheres. And I knew that I had to be on my P's and Q's and make sure that I was a hardworking young man, young boy, and to interact with those customers of his in a very positive manner, or else I was going to get the belt later. So with that being said, as a police officer, I wasn't making ends meet and making the kind of money that I wanted to make. So as a side job, after working midnight shift, I would go out and sell stamped colored concrete on the side. And I knew at a very young age of doing this that, oh my goodness, in one summer, I made almost as much as I did as a full-time police officer. Now, don't get me wrong, I did not want to get hurt and have to retire, but it happened. And that's when I knew I needed to get into the home service industry, because there were so many opportunities for us to be able to do things and bring opportunities to ourselves. And later on, when I became a leader and a GM of a heating cooling company and failed miserably my first go round, that I met an individual by the name of Ron Smith. And I know a lot of you on this call today. I'm not sure, I saw some names that I recognize, Paul Samick, and I saw Paul Wadsworth on the list. I met Ron Smith, and Ron Smith wrote a book called HVAC Spells Wealth. If you're going to take any notes today, that is one of them. HVAC Spells Wealth. Ron Smith wrote a book that is the most purchased book in the history of HVAC. Ron is 84 some years old right now, and he invented the service agreement. So everything that we do today as HVAC contractors, Ron put that script together for us, and he's got it in this book, A to Z. Now, I know times have changed and things are getting different, but we're going to talk today about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that is accountability. And in my eyes, I learned at a very young age, being service experts, Lennox International's youngest GM at the time they'd ever hired, that as a contractor and going into that field, I wanted to make everybody happy, okay? And I was afraid of holding people accountable, which at the time I really didn't know. I thought I knew what accountability was, but I really didn't. And it wasn't until I met Ron Smith and he took me under his wing and became my mentor. My kids looked up to him when we both lived in Nashville, and they called him Grandma and Grandpa, him and Betty. It was when I met Ron and he held me accountable and taught me what it meant, is when my career skyrocketed, and I've never looked back. And you'll hear me say phrases like trust but verify. You'll hear me say if we work together in the future. R&D does not stand for research and development. R&D stands for rob and duplicate. I did not recreate any wheel out there. I'm not that smart. But I do know to network myself with gentlemen like Ron Smith, people like Tracy Martin, and anything they do that I like, I steal it. And I'm going to rob and duplicate it and try to make it better. Now, real professionals in our industry are willing to share best practices and tell you what we do and how we are successful, because that's what this world's all about. Forget about all the negativity that goes on in our world today. Today is a day about positivity, sharing, not being afraid to reach out to somebody and ask for help, not being afraid to contact Tracy, contact Brad, contact somebody you know that you admire. And I tell you, there's more people than not that are going to answer that call and simply talk to you and share what their experiences are. And that's the only way to progress, in my opinion, in this arena, is to not be afraid to reach out. So we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. I got to talk fast because I've only got 45 minutes with you. So, you know, I had a plumber one time when I relocated to Nashville, Tennessee. I relocated to take over a very large heating, cooling, plumbing contractor that was losing $120,000 a month when I moved there 13 years ago. And I was tasked to turn that company around. And Ron Smith ended up joining me as my assistant GM when I took that company over, doing upwards to $20 million in annual revenues, losing $120,000 a month. And one of the things that I implemented real quick that we're going to talk about a lot today is my Rehash program. So we're going to get into that here shortly. So that's my background. That's who you're dealing with. What you're seeing right now is just a small percentage of what I bring to the table when I come into your business or you come to one of my training courses I will be holding regionally across the country. There's a lot of passion and energy, and there's a few things that I like to talk about when we get started. And Billy, I'm going to click on this. Okay. So what is our why? Why are we here today? What gets us up every day to go out and be successful? Is our team producing mediocre results? And I know the answer to that because I work with thousands of contractors. Whether it's on a call like this where there might be 50 to 60, 70 people, whether I'm doing a training in front of an ASHRAE show or whatever, and I'm talking to 100 to 200 contractors at a time, I know that more times than not, we are getting mediocre results from our associates. And it's not their fault. It's not their fault. As leaders, we need to set the example and get the results that we desire within our organizations. And we're going to talk about that. So when I talk to a group, doesn't matter if it's a small contractor that's got 3 employees, or I'm talking to you know, one that's got 100. There's 2 distinct quality characteristics that I like to talk about every day that I work with a group. Every day we wake up, we have the opportunity to either choose or do one of these 2 things in this wonderful HVAC home service industry. If you're an electrician that's in here, I don't mean to talk just HVAC, but in this home service industry, we have a great opportunity. So you got to remember, I was a union police officer for 10 years. I got a raise, financial raise, once every 3 years when my contract was negotiated. This industry that we're in, we spiff, commission our associates. I don't care if they're field associates, technicians, installers, comfort consultants, or if they're working inside answering phones, dispatch, CSRs. I don't care if it's the accountant or the controller of your division or your company. They have an opportunity to give themselves a raise every day they come to work. Think about that. We are allowing and providing these individuals that work for our companies the opportunity to give themselves a raise. Now, what also can affect that? What characteristic can affect them being successful or unsuccessful in someone's home or on the phone? Because I know when I call Tracy and she answers the phone, she has chosen a positive attitude every day she wakes up. When she answers that phone, it's full of energy, okay? But if she chooses a negative attitude in the mornings, how successful is she going to be that day? If our technicians, our CSRs don't have a smile on their face when they answer the phone, how successful are they going to be booking that call to put our technicians or our comfort consultants in front of the homeowner? So you got to remember that this industry, this indoor air quality, and that's really what we're talking about here, is the opportunities that we have available to us when we go inside someone's home. The indoor air quality business worldwide, I heard a number from Honeywell that the number last year, worldwide homeowners spent $30 billion in indoor air quality products. That includes filters, Wi-Fi thermostats, media filters, products like mine, ducted, purification systems, UV lights, Aeroseal, blown in, the liquid rubberized sealant that's absolutely amazing. All those rolled together, homeowners spent $30 billion last year. Guess how much of that $30 billion we contractors got? you guys are going to shake your head at this. And I say guys, I apologize. I know there's a lot of wonderful ladies on this call also, but it's just kind of a thing that we, say is guys, I'm sorry. We as contractors got less than 10% of that 30 billion. Think about that. Less than 10% of that. Why is that? And when I am working with a contractor, every morning I'm doing a training in front of a group of individuals. And I get they're buying it on Amazon. They can buy it in Home Depot and Lowe's. The prices are better on Amazon and everywhere else. You know what? That's BS. Because when that homeowner calls Brad's Heating and Cooling, my associates are going into their house and they are expecting professionalism, honesty, integrity, happy, positive attitude, the professional. They're expecting that when we step into their home. They are more than happy to hear, sometimes maybe they're not, but if there's a problem going on within their home comfort system, they want to know about it. And when you work with me, we are going to train your technicians to make sure when they go inside someone's house, they are going to have the correct conversations. They're going to ask the right questions. Hey, Miss Tracy, before I get started with your annual tune-up today on that AC outside, if I come across any issues or concerns with your home comfort system, would you like me to bring it to your attention?
You bet.
You bet. Who's going to say no? It's kind of like going to the doctor at my age. And by the way, the third thing I do every day when I wake up is I thank God that he gave me the opportunity to wake up every day, because once you hit 50 years old, hey, at any age, you're not guaranteed tomorrow. So I'm very grateful for having the opportunity to be on here, that Aeroseal's asked me to be on with you guys, you gals today, to talk about so many opportunities that we need to bring to the forefront to our homeowners, because they're expecting that from us. So again, Tracy and I talked a little, I'm like a dog outside with 20 squirrels running around, and I was going somewhere, but it left me. Tracy, do you remember where I was with that?
I just saw a squirrel too. Yeah, well, I think, Brad, where you're going is, if we're only capturing 10% of it and the homeowner's inviting us into the home, they're there for a reason. Not only are they expecting us to be professional and be the experts, they're expecting us to solve problems. That's why we're here today. If they could solve all their own problems, they wouldn't have called you. So they want you to find opportunities to make things better in the home. So you got to jump on those opportunities. That's where you were going.
Excellent. You brought me right back into it, and you're absolutely right. And unfortunately, think about this. Our technicians, let's just talk about them, because we can roll it out to installers and CAs and everything. But our technicians are in at least 4 homes a day, 20 working days a month. They're in 80 homes a month. And I know the kind of wages that you owners and GMs are paying technicians, and it's pretty significant, okay? But think about that. That significant amount of money we are paying them, they're just going out, jumping in that truck and doing, I hate to say it, but they're doing as minimum as they have to. Because you know what? If I talk about this or talk about that, you know what? How's the contractor owner really going to know what I'm talking about in the house? I'm writing it down on my sheet and put it in my notes and Service Titan or whatever I'm Pazer, whatever I'm using. But we really don't know what they're doing in the house. And we're going to talk about how we can capture that, and we can create something that's absolutely amazing. That's going to create generational type of wealth within your organizations if you buy into it and you get us involved to help you, because we need held accountable also. Okay, us owners and GMs of companies, we struggle because we don't have anybody to help hold us accountable, to keep us, because Tracy's going to talk about it here in a few minutes. We need to create a habit, and it's hard for the majority of the individuals in this world to create that habit. So we're going to talk about how we can get extraordinary results from ordinary people. Now remember this, we go inside someone's house, it's broken. We know that when we walk inside someone's home from the heating and cooling side of the business, it's broke. How many times have we had a homeowner answer the door for our tune-up today, and we're on the phone, and we are like, or they answer the door and they're on the phone? Do you think that homeowner might be interested in controlling their home comfort systems from their phones? Absolutely. How many times do us technicians and installers walk into a house and we miss the opportunity for a wet switch opportunity? Safety switches. How many times do we miss whole house surge protection? There are so many avenues for us to just bring it to the attention to the homeowner and then let them decide whether they want to invest or not. We are doing them a disservice by not talking about it in the house. So, labor shortage, Tracy.
Yeah, so Brad's going to run through the information here on the screen in a minute, but guys, Brad said it at the top of the hour here. We are in the middle of a labor shortage. It's something it's always been prevalent in the industry. What I mean is it's always been tough to find skilled labor. And then I hear so many owners and GMs struggle with, a guy chasing a dime, and they'll leave, they'll go somewhere else. And I think that's an opportunity to stop and ask yourself, why are they leaving, right? And it goes back to one of the first slides Brad had on the screen, and it's about the why. People don't leave companies, people leave management. That's what they leave. And so what are they lacking? What's lacking that they're not getting that they think they're going to find somewhere else? It's not the dime they're chasing. They're chasing something bigger. They're chasing that purpose, that why. They want to feel good about the work they're doing every day, right? And I think Brad's gonna really hammer that point home here in a minute. But with all the struggle that I hear from our dealer partners, this is something that's so important. Once you find somebody good, how can you make sure you keep them and attract more people like them? So tune in and pay close attention to what Brad's about to share with you.
All right, so thank you so much, Tracy. You're so right. It's about building a culture, and we have the opportunity to do that. And when we do that, we attract talented people. Within the last month, I have recruited 2 people on the East Coast where I was working and got them jobs with heating and cooling contractors. One was at a Valvoline that I went in to get an oil change, and this young individual was full of energy, had pulled out my cabinet filter, showed me the wiper blades, what they look like on my truck and what they're supposed to look like. And I'm like, man, this would be the best tune-up technician in Philadelphia right here. And he's got a job now moving forward, and I guarantee you he will generate so much revenue for that company, it's not even funny. I've also placed a waiter that was absolutely amazing when I had lunch up in Long Island. And I'm telling you, I got that individual's name and number, gave it to a contractor right there in the area, and they hired that individual because I asked him while I was having lunch, man, are you mechanically inclined by any chance? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am. Sold. That individual can walk into someone's house 4 to 5 times a day, give themselves a raise every day they step foot, if they are trained properly, held accountable to go out and be successful. So, next slide, defining a habit. Tracy, I know you and I are both passionate about this. We both have children, so I'm gonna let you knock out forming a habit, because this is important for what we're about to close the last 20 minutes with.
Yeah, so, there's all of us have opportunities to go to conferences and training classes and workshops, and we write down all these great ideas, and we have all these awesome plans. And then we get back to the office and we fall in, with all the best intentions, we fall into the routine. And it's a lack of forming a habit. And it's so important that you have the discipline to create the behaviors that lead to the habit changes you're trying to make. And I told Brad right before the webinar, is it okay if I give a quick plug for the book, Brad, that I...
Absolutely.
Okay, so recently a book was recommended to me. It's called Tiny Habits, and it's written by B.J. Fogg, F-O-G-G. And I told Brad, I'm completely geeking out on this book. I love it. It teaches us how to change habits. So real quick example, beginning of the year, most of us, many of us, we look at our health and our lifestyle and we say, man, I'm gonna go to the gym. And we have these great goals in mind. They're very aspirational, but taking that step, that first step to get there, all of a sudden it seems too big of a hill to climb. And it's because we're focusing on the wrong thing. This book gives you sort of the formula to get to the top of that hill, reach that aspiration, but taking the tiny little steps that are gonna get you there and lead to success. And it all is threaded with accountability. And that's why I'm so excited that Brad is sharing this information with all of us today. Check it out, there it is.
I wrote it down, Tracy. That book will be purchased off of Amazon when we're done today.
You'll love
Because, you know, me being, you know, yeah, I work for a manufacturer, but I am an accountability coach. And I realize that most of the business trainers in our industry today talk nothing about accountability. They come in and tell you what you're doing wrong. They look at your P&Ls with you, and they don't steer us, help us on, you know, how to be accountable. Because, you know, if you look at this slide right here, I know the answer to this. Our technicians, installers, our comfort consultants, our whole management staff, our dispatchers, are they going to accomplish or execute any new process that we put in place on their own? And the answer is absolutely not. How many times have we given a sheet to an install team and said, I need you to do the checklist and the startup and go in and make sure the homeowner knows how to operate the thermostat, and they bring that checklist back and that they haven't executed it? They need our help. Leadership, it's our responsibility to hold them accountable. Good people want to be held accountable. And I'm telling you, you're going to hear me say it a couple more times, you're going to get extraordinary results from ordinary people just like me if you hold me accountable. Teach me, set the example, hold me accountable. And this is where this slide comes into play. Our greatest responsibility, Ron Smith taught me this at a very young age. He said, Brad, your biggest responsibility is to inform, educate, and train your associates daily. Give them the tools, the skills, the sales tools, the instruction, the processes on how to be highly accessible, highly successful. It is your responsibility to do that. Think about that. We all know sitting here that it could be costing every one of us that owns a contracting company upwards to $300-400 of your advertising spend a year. It might be costing you $300 to get every one of your field associates in a house. Think about that. If they have an average ticket of $110 and it's costing you $300 to get them in a house, you've just lost $190 every time they walked in a home. And I'm telling you, every home you go in is broken, and we're not talking about it. And we're going to talk about real quick how we create something to make sure that our field associates are doing what we expect of them in the house. So we lead by example. We're going to hold them accountable with actions, not words, because we can have goal boards and put stuff up on a screen and track them and say, hey, Brad, your average ticket is $222, and I know we want you to be at $350, $400. That's not accountability. That's tracking me and telling me where I stand. But there's more to it than that. Hey, Billy, I am clicking on my screen to try to get the next slide to come up, and it's not. Can you force it for me? All right, how do I hold people accountable? Set expectations to each associate within each department. Okay, whatever it is, I brought up a lot of examples, real quick. Wet switches, surge protection, whatever it is that you want to be talking about, maybe it's that month, maybe it's that week. And I know that, when I ride with a technician, because I'm a guy that will talk the talk, but I'll walk it, and ride with a technician and show them what to do in the home. And if money is no object with a homeowner, and by the way, if we're not offering financing to the homeowner, shame on us. You need to be offering financing in the house. But if someone were to say, Brad, I want the best indoor air quality in my home, what do I do? You need to do a duct cleaning. You need to put in 4-inch media filter. You need to I would do a duct cleaning first, then I would do Aeroseal. And I've done that at both of my homes in Nashville and in Akron, Ohio. I would put in 4-inch media filter, and then I would put in an air scrubber by Aerus. Simple as that. You can pitch that for $145 a month, all day, every day. And I'm telling you, more people, by the way, we're still in the middle of a pandemic, right? People are working from home more than ever. Heck, for a long time, they scared the heck out of us and said, you'll die if you go outside to the public. So people are living at home more than ever. We have an opportunity to provide them products and services within their home, and we're not doing it. We're going to start doing it today. And all you have to do, by the time you'll have our contact information when we're done today, you need to reach out to us. You need to attend some trainings with us. We can help you make generational type of wealth. So Set the expectations for each associate within each department. I don't care if it's an install team, if it's your CSRs, if it's your techs and comfort consultants. They need to know your company KPIs and benchmarks, whatever it is, for each of their job positions. If you don't know those, we do. Implement and execute with a follow-up plan. You've heard me say trust but verify. Again, how do I know what they're really doing if I don't implement something to find out what they're doing? I can't ride with 10 technicians every day, every call. I've created something that's called my Rehash program, and it has been rolled out, and I created this 13 years ago, and now it's a happy call, but it's taking it deeper than just a happy call, because most times in our industry, we do a happy call to a homeowner, but we're really not diving in deep to find out if the tech is doing what they are supposed to be doing. We need to have weekly trainings with our staff. Tracy just talked about forming a habit. If you tell your associates every Tuesday is our service meeting, our install meeting, it needs to happen every week and never cancel. If you cancel and you don't show up, how are you creating a habit for them to follow? You've got to lead by example. You took the risk to start your own company. Here's a stat, write this one down. 90%, there's 166,000 contractors, licensed contractors in the United States of America. 90% of them are operating at less than $2 million in total revenue and less than 5% net profit. Over 90% of them. Some of you might be sitting on this phone today. If you want to change that, you need to reach out to us. There are people that want to help you and make you more successful than you ever thought possible. We get that. Now, also with those trainings, you need to create something that's routinely going to happen daily, repetitiously, weekly, monthly meetings, whatever it is. I have access. I created a daily game plan that could be, you could have someone at your company upload all the information from yesterday's revenue to a spreadsheet, today's action, what you got going on, and tomorrow's, and you have it right in front of you in a daily game plan, and not waiting till the 10th of the month next month to find out what we did in the month of April. Heck with that. You need to know every day what you're doing. PIARM, your keys to success. You must create a plan. I said a business plan here, but it might be an indoor air quality plan. It might be whatever plan, with your comfort advisors. It could be with your CSRs, your dispatchers. It doesn't matter. You got to create a plan. Now, with what we're talking about today, it would be some type of indoor air quality plan that we're going to discuss going into the home. So we put the plan together. We've got to implement and execute it with passion. Your team has to believe that what you're talking to them about is real. It's tangible, it's fixable in the house. Think about this. My parents, who are 80 and 78, call me in September and said, Brad, next time you visit Akron, we want you to take our van in to get new tires. The tires are dry rotten. Now, this is the van that they used to like running up and down Route 77 to Wheeling, West Virginia, and blowing my inheritance at that damn casino. And they hadn't been driving it during COVID. So in September, Tracy, I see you giggling at me. In September, if you remember last year, the COVID was starting to slow down. They hadn't come out with the variants yet. So they were excited that they could get to the casino. So I take the van in to get fixed, or to get tires put on it. And after about 15 minutes of it being up on the lift, I see a young man, Tim, come into the lobby, and he's coming at me, and I know what he's coming for. And he says to me, Mr. Hone, hey, I had to bring this to your attention. I found some things going on with your parents' car. Okay, what is it? He told me the calipers were bad, brake pads were paper thin, and the rotors needed to be machined and churned or something. I didn't understand it at the time. But here's what he did. He took me out to the car, to the van, had new pads there to show me the thickness of what they should look like, showed me the old pads, showed me the rotors that were disgusting, and the calipers that were bad. Holy shit, are you kidding me? He took me out and showed me what was going on. Now, I already trusted this company. My dad had been using them for 50 years. I was going to invest and do it, but he took me out there and showed me the pain point of what I had going on. Not being unethical, not being salesman-y, just to show me. Thank goodness. Could you imagine if he just threw tires on it and sent me on my way, and my parents were to get in an accident, he wouldn't, if he would have found out, he wouldn't be able to sleep at night, hopefully. That's what we're doing. How many times have our field associates gone into a house? I don't care if it's a comfort advisor, installer, technician. They pull a panel off of a furnace or an air handler. The first thing they see going on inside that furnace or air handler is growth. How many times have we gone into someone's house and we haven't pulled and looked inside someone's ductwork? How many times have we haven't looked and had the fan running and seen, hold a piece of paper up and seen that the leakage that's going on in their ductwork is absolutely astronomical? Department of Energy has stated, what is it, up to over 90% of homes are leaking up to what, 30, 40%, Tracy?
Yep. 95% of homes in the United States have 25 to 40% typical leakage. Yep.
Every home is broken, and we are missing the opportunity. It's kind of like going to the doctor's office. If I go into the doctor's office and he's doing my routine, physical for me, and he draws blood, you think I'm going to tell him, man, if you find any bad blood cells in there, don't you tell me about that. I don't want to know about it. No. And that's the same thing we're doing every day, all day, when we go inside someone's home. They prove that they're buying $30 billion worth of stuff worldwide on us, and we're not getting it. So we implement and execute. Now we have to hold accountable, and we're getting there. I'm going to tell you how to hold them accountable to a level that some of you probably have thought about, just didn't execute it. Well, I'm here to help enforce and work with you moving forward to do that. Tracy and I will work with you, and I'm telling you, it's going to change your lives, change your homeowners' lives, change your associates' lives, and change your life as a business owner. You need to review the processes and procedures and those expectations set forth by you within the leadership team to make sure they're working, because they might need adjusted. You might need to move them around a little bit and change them, because after all, as great leaders, we need to listen to our associates and our homeowners to find out what we're doing that's working and what's not. We need to change stuff. Then we need to manage those processes and adapt if needed. Okay, very important. We need to track them, goal boards, KPIs, and we need to manage the individuals. So, you know what? Here's a spreadsheet that we're going to talk about real quick. All right, so I'm going to show my screen. And here's a spreadsheet. All right, so let's say that you're a contractor that has 4 technicians inside your home or inside your business. Okay, we already established that they're going to be in 20 days, working days this month. They're going to be in 80 homes this month. All right, so moving across this, again, you're going to be able to reach out to me when we're done here. If you want this calculator and you want to work with me going forward, I can do that. Let's say the cost of goods sold for the Aeroseal. We're going to talk about Aeroseal here. So the cost of labor, the cost of the sealant, all the material that you're going to need, and maybe some we put a portion of the purchase of the machine in here. Let's say your cost of goods sold on every system Aeroseal you do is going to cost about $1,000. Let's say you're going to retail sell it for $24.95 a system. If they got 2 systems in the house, which I have done this in the past as a contractor, you'd be like, let's say $37.50 for 2 systems in the house, $2,500, $24.95 for 1. Let's say you're going to spit that individual $250. So I can tell you that right now, those 4 technicians and most contracting companies I've ever consulted with or worked with, those individual techs are selling no more than 1 Aeroseal a month. So over the course of a month, that team of 4 technicians is going to generate 4 monthly Aeroseals, and it's going to create $9,900 and $80 in top line revenue. After the tech payout and the cost of goods sold, we're going to be left with $4,982 of gross margin dollars. Over the course of the year, we're not going to hold them accountable. So this number is probably going to dip below that because, it was hot and heavy when we talked about it right now. But over the course of a year, it's going to dissipate because we're not going to hold them accountable and daily talk about it. And it's going to be a part of our culture moving forward. We're going to generate $120,000 over the course of a year, an extra $60,000 in net profit. Off here to the right, we just talked about We know that over 90% of contractors in America operate at less than 2 million in revenue and are making less than 5% net profit. So that's this line right here. I'm telling you that if you implement this Rehash follow-up program that I'm going to teach you, you can take your numbers easily to 2 in this calculator, which is a 10% close. But let's just say I'm wrong on that, and we close at about a 5%. So every tech is going in 80 homes a month. He or she is going to talk about Aeroseal in every house they go in, and we're going to have a follow-up process that is going to check that. I'm telling you, the results are astronomical. You will close 5%. So each tech going to sell about 5 scrubbers a month, 1.25 a week. You are going to generate 20 Aeroseal installs a month, generate an extra 50,000 a month, an extra 25,000 of gross profit dollars. And when you make this a habit and you every day check to make sure your staff is doing it, over the course of the year, you're going to generate an extra $600,000 in top line revenue and an extra $298,000 of EBITDA. Now, we all know that we haven't spent a dollar in marketing. We are just holding our people accountable to talk about these products and services we bring to the table when we go inside someone's house. And the person that's going to be doing the follow-up call to the homeowner is going to be well educated and trained as well, so that they can talk about it as well. Your new revenue went to 1.598 million. Your new net profit is 328,000, and you're now a 20% net profit company.
Boom! I feel like you need a boom.
I'm telling you, I've got contractors that have become friends over the years that we've implemented this process that are making 15, 20, 25% net. Billy, if you want to take us back to the, or what do? I stopped sharing screen. Okay. And if you want to bring the PowerPoint back up. I'm telling you, this is achievable. And the Rehash program that Billy is, the Rehash program is pretty simple. It is simply an individual. And when I was a contractor, I would take, because I had so many associates, I had 20 some technicians and 10 plumbers and 6 comfort consultants. I had an inside sales staff that would follow up on everything we did. I didn't care if it was a comfort consultant call, presentation, heat load calculation in a house, or if it was a technician call in a house. I had a Rehash inside salesperson. I had 3 of them. One of them was always the underperforming comfort consultant of the month. The following month, they worked in the office and follow up phone calls so they could just continue to work on their talk track to be better in a house. So we make the phone call to the homeowner and we simply say, Tracy, my tech, Billy was at your house yesterday. Can I ask you a few quality assurance questions? Was he on time? Did he, did we call you when we were on our way? And I've got a call script. If you want, you just contact me and we'll work together. Was he, did we call when he was on his way? Did he wear his blue floor savers when he came in your house? Did he talk to you, whatever it is you want to talk about that month? Maybe it's wet switches, maybe it's whole house surge protection. Did he talk to you about Aeroseal today? No, he didn't. Well, guess what's going to happen? Tomorrow, Billy and I, because Billy agreed that this Aeroseal technology or the air scrubber technology or wet switches need to be in every house. We're going to sit and talk tomorrow, Billy, and I'm going to say, hey, Billy, you agreed as one of my technicians that I'm paying you X amount of dollars, an hour, that this is very important and you believe in this technology. Please explain to me why you've been in 4 houses yesterday and you haven't talked about anything that we trained and have been talking about. And then I'll sit and listen to what he has to say, and then I will address how I want to hold them accountable. Now, you got to remember, we all have people in our organization that we know have a $100 average ticket, and it's costing us $350 to put them inside each and every house. We're losing $250 on every time they go into a house. So my question to you is, would it be better off to not have them going in the house? And let's say 50% of our staff is in that arena, which is very possible. I'd rather hold back those 2 technicians and not put them in the house and burn through my calls, and we just take a little bit more time getting, that was my timer to shut up. And that is my cue to just make sure that I put the individuals in the home that have the average ticket that we're looking for with our benchmarking KPI to get us to the 15-20% net profit, and stop wasting my leads with people that don't care about Brad's Heating and Cooling. Because let me tell you, they don't care about your money like you do. If you find an individual that does, and that's a leader that you can grow. So moving forward, that is my Rehash follow-up program. We need to call the homeowner and find out if the field associate is doing what we've asked them to do. Now, on top of that, if we identify that Billy talked about Aeroseal in the house, but he just didn't quite close it because the homeowner wanted to talk to their spouse, maybe Billy wasn't good about, talking about the finance programs, the inside salesperson, Tracy's going to make the phone call. She knows financing. She knows Aeroseal. She has it at her house, and she's passionate as heck about it. She has the opportunity to close the call. Billy did his job. He talked about Aeroseal. They just didn't invest. Tracy follows up. They invest. They split the spiff 50-50 because they both have done their job. Now, if Billy doesn't talk about whatever the initiative is that you want to address, maybe it's service agreements on every call, which needs to be done anyway. But if Billy doesn't talk to the homeowner about it, Tracy sells it over the phone, she gets 100% of the spiff, and Billy gets the conversation from me tomorrow, which he's not going to like. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I'm telling you what, you can create generational type wealth. When I took that company over in Nashville, I got rid of 30% of the field staff because their average tickets, after trying to change them, culture them, teach them, train them, inform them, they weren't changing. They just weren't. We went from losing money every month in the service division to being highly profitable and one of the only profitable service departments within that organization across the country within a matter of 3 months. That's how powerful this is. So we implement a tech tune-up demand service process to produce quality service with exceptional revenue. Because remember, we're doing the homeowner a disservice if we're not talking to them about the leakage they got going on in their home, without a shadow of a doubt. Daily, you've got to be proactive, not reactive. The daily game plan I talked about earlier, that if you reach out, I can work with you on that. My 10 at 10, every day at 10 a.m. I had a meeting where we wouldn't sit down. I had 7 line managers, and we all got in a huddle. Whether it was nice out in Nashville, we'd stand outside, and we'd go around, and each manager would talk about what they did yesterday, what do they got today, what do they got tomorrow. And I would give input as we went around the horn of things that I might suggest that they could, implement to be proactive instead of sitting back waiting for stuff to happen. No, we need to, how many times are we dispatching for profit? How many times are we taking a comfort advisor that we don't have enough calls on the board and making them ride with a technician that we've stacked up all our 10-year-old systems on one technician, and the comfort advisor is going to go ride with them? That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Questions?
All right. Well, thank you, Brad. I love it. Tracy, I love the whole presentation, but at this time, we'll open it up. So over on your dashboard, you'll have questions. Feel free to type into that. While we wait on the questions to kind of trickle in here, I'm also going to launch another poll just to get some feedback on Brad and some of this training stuff. So we're going to do a quick accountability measure here and see who wants to create some generational wealth. Hopefully everybody does. And then Tracy, There's a couple questions around the book that you mentioned. Could you repeat that title and author?
Yeah, the title of the book is Tiny, like me, Tiny Habits. Tiny Habits, and the author is BJ, Boy James, BJ Fogg, Fogg. Awesome, awesome, awesome book.
Perfect. There is a question here around if it'll be recorded. Yes, the entire presentation has been recorded. Those in attendance will receive it shortly after. So just be on the lookout from it. It'll be automated. If you don't, my email was used on a couple of these outreach pieces. So feel free to reach out if you don't receive it by the end of the day, and we'll make sure that you get a copy of it. Brad, there's a question in here around some of the follow-up, maybe. Jason's asking an email for follow-up process. Part of that could be around what's asking here for maybe contact and reaching out to you. The other side of that is, I'm thinking, you know, what are you finding the most luck with when you're doing some of these happy calls, these accountability measures and everything, the follow-ups? Is it email? Is it phone calls? Is it in person? What's the best forum to have those in?
Yeah, it's not email. It's not, you've got to call the homeowner to find out if the technician or the comfort consultant or the install team is doing what you expect them to do. You have to have, you know, contact with that homeowner verbally. Now, if all else fails and they're not answering their phone, then of course we follow up with an email. And we have email drip campaigns that we send out, you know, with links of great videos. You know, I mean, I remember the video that Tracy, you had from this old house that, I mean, you know, there's so many ways with these operating systems that we have in place in our organizations to email the homeowner before our tech goes to the house.
Or text.
They have an opportunity to watch the Aeroseal video before they get there.
What do we got here?
Do you have one more survey?
Yeah, there'll be one that comes out here in a little bit. Brad, you stated that you trimmed the fat from tech who are not producing. What do you say to companies that are fearful of losing people?
Well, I mean, think about this. Let's say you've got, you know, 5 technicians, and real quick, I'm going to do the math. All right, so I've got 5 technicians, and let's say 2 of them are underperforming, and they're going in 80 calls a month, and they generate $110 each. They're turning in $8,800 a month in revenue, okay, off their truck. But let's say we top grade them and move on from them because they're just not producing. And, you know, we now have 80 calls that we're going on with one of the top performers that's, you know, got, let's say a $425 average ticket. So now we've generated $34,000 off that truck compared to $9,000. So you've just put $25,000 of gross profit dollars or top line revenue dollars into your pocket. And now remember, 2 of these individuals, so they were each doing about 9,000 in revenue, only generation 2 of them, 18,000 in revenue. And we've just taken our time, and, you know, we're going to get to those customers not as fast because we're not burning through calls and wasting them. We've now created $70,000 in revenue for those 2 people that were gone by putting the proper individuals in front of our homeowners. So you got to remember, yeah, we feel like and I'm telling you, I was fearful of this my first go around, and I failed miserably as a GM for Service Experts. But when I relocated to Nashville and took over ARS Nashville, the VP at the time, who's now the president of the company, said to me, Brad, would you rather go down with a sinking ship and continue to put those technicians in people's homes if they don't want to come on board and understand that we're doing the homeowner a disservice? You are going to fail and be fired from this job if you don't fix that. He goes, Brad, I don't care if you skinny the division down to damn near nothing and take your time getting to our homeowners and bringing the products and services that we bring to the table and deliver world-class customer service. That's what I did. That's when I learned accountability at its highest level, as I wasn't going to be a prisoner to that technician that thinks he's got me over the barrel. He can't move on from me. I can fix anything. You know what? That type of attitude is going to burn Rome down.
Yeah. I
Feel free
recognize.
to reach out to me and talk to me personally about it if you want.
Yep. I recognize this name. Rick Secor is saying death by 100 paper cuts.
Rick, I like that.
Yeah, I was actually going to make a comment similar to that, Rick. Hi, Rick. You know, you guys are going to sign off of this webinar, and you're probably going to have a little pep in your step because Brad just has so much energy and he's contagious, right? Bad things can be contagious too. So when you have teammates who are apathetic, complacent, lazy, or let's just say they're doing the bare minimum, they're just taking orders, right, but not going beyond, that can spread too. And then that's the kind of culture that you're trying to work against, but then the numbers are going to outweigh you, and you got to have the courage, I think is what Brad's saying. You got to have the courage to find good people, build them up, keep them, and cut loose the ones that are not part of that culture you're trying to build. Otherwise, one bad apple spoils the cart, right?
Tracy, you're exactly right. And what I would also say is, hey, think about this. Let's say you are in that situation where you feel like you're held hostage, and you've been hovering at 3, 4, 5% net profit for years. What have you got to lose? Try this. Implement accountability, because good people want to be held accountable. Good people want it. They thrive it. They will flourish because of it. They're probably upset with you because you don't hold them accountable. And now you're going to give them the opportunity to make money for maybe their wives to stay home and not work 60 hours a week also. Maybe they now have extra money that they can put $300 per kid into a college fund. See, money doesn't motivate a lot of people. Accountability and being a part of something special does. And, I'm very successful, but darn it, I love when the owner of my company calls me and says, dude, you're doing things that our company's never seen before. I'm motivated by a lot of different things. I got a lot of dependents in my life, and I got to get up and go get it every day. But I mean, on top of that, there's no better feeling in the world than, like, Zeke Warner was on this today, and he texted me just as we finished over in Maryland, who's got a great company. But it's guys like him that call me and say, Brad, you've helped me change my entire family's life and the people that work for me. A good friend of mine owns 5 heating and cooling companies in Northeast Ohio, where he started out as a technician 20 years ago when I met him, and I've mentored him the whole way. He will put up 17 to 22% net on 8-9 million. My goodness. And hey, guess what? My girlfriend is the Rehash person that calls and follows up on his technicians. That's how powerful this is. We are creating opportunities for so many people.
Perfect. I will launch one last one around your 2-day boot camp.
Okay.
As well. So in the meantime, we can go through. So Brad's information's up here on the screen. There's a couple future classes on accountability as well through this. So Brad's information's here if you guys are interested in reaching out or you want Brad to reach out to you directly, whichever one, feel free to comment that into the box so that we can track that and pass it over to him accordingly. Brad, I don't know if you want to add anything around the courses or.
No, it will be, 2-day boot camp. I'm going to start having them quite often, and they'll be regionally scheduled. I know we're getting ready to get into the busy time of the year, but think about this. if you don't invest in yourself to understand accountability, this busy time of the year might get past you and you didn't capture as much as you could have. So, you know, it will be honing your skills on accountability, the Rehash program, knowing your numbers, are you departmentalized, and then how can you maximize every opportunity that comes your way.
And then Tracy, for any of our existing dealers on the line, if you want to share any of the upcoming trainings, organization, things that we can make sure that they're participating in if they're not.
Yeah, so the three that would fall in line with what we're talking about today, one would be our Aeroseal University online courses. We have a signature program throughout the residential business called Tribe. And it's peer networking, peer-to-peer accountability, peer-to-peer idea sharing, and it has the potential to be something really magical, but it's only going to work if dealers put in the time and the effort. On top of Tribe, we have a training program called Energize. I think there are a few attendees with us today who've been in the Energize workshop. And funny, we do a lot of what Brad's talking about today. And a lot of the class is modeled around the Tiny Habits book, but it's basically a practice in being accountable and building an accountability plan. So it's just so important, guys. So yeah, happy to help in any way we can.
Perfect. Well, I think that takes us to the top of the hour. Great content. Brad, Tracy, if you have any final alibis or any final parting words, otherwise we can get everybody back to their days.
No, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure working with you guys. Tracy and I've been doing this a long time together as former contractors. If you don't hear the passion in our voice and how much we care about what you all are doing on a day-to-day basis, then you weren't paying attention today, because this is not about you know, anything personal for us. It's about helping friends and you know, creating friends and relationships where we can help everybody become better, because that's what our associates need from us. They need us to be strong leaders, and part of that is holding them accountable. So thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brad.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Look out for the recording, and please take the survey at the end. Just let us know how we're doing and what we can look to aspire for in future content, future topics that may be meaningful to you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Billy. Bye, Tracy.
Bye-bye. Bye, Brad.